Good morning. Happy Saturday. I hope you guys are doing well today. I want to say I definitely appreciate you guys taking your work serious. I really appreciate that you guys are helping each other out, meeting when you need to meet to discuss whatever issues you are facing and just working on the project. So certainly, please keep up the good work. I would like to start today's class with presenting a demo to you guys on the latest update in AWS on how you can SSH into any EC2 instance using the AWS CLI command. AWS just released a new feature, I believe it's like a little bit over a week and a half ago, that allows you to SSH into any EC2 instance in your VPC. Whether the instance is in the public subnet or the private subnet, now you can SSH into any EC2 instance in your VPC using the CLI command. It is certainly very easy to set up, and it is much straightforward than using the Bastion host. And you don't need a key pair to use this feature to SSH into your EC2 instance. So today I want to show you how to set it up. And once you set it up, you can use it while you are working on your projects to SSH into your EC2 instance. Okay. This is the blog that I saw on how to SSH into your EC2 instance using this new feature that AWS just released. And it is called EC2 Instance Connect Endpoint. So how this endpoint works is AWS has the EC2 Instance Endpoint service. This is in the AWS cloud. And to use this endpoint service, we will create this endpoint in any subnet in our VPC. Once we have done that, we can use this endpoint to SSH into any EC2 instance or other resources in our VPC. So it is not just limited to EC2 instance. You can also use this feature to SSH into other resources in your VPC. Today, I'll show you how to set it up. The concept is simple, but when you read the documentation, there are certain things you have to set up just to make sure that you are able to use this feature. One of the questions I get is, how do you come up with the commands? How do you know how to set up all these things? This is just a blog post that I read last week. Reading this blog post and the information that is listed on it, that was how I was able to come up with my notes on things I need to do to be able to use this EC2 Instance Connect endpoint. Certainly, this blog post is very helpful, but they still don't walk you through the step-by-step of how to set everything up. You just have to read it and pick out the key things they are saying in it. Then that is how you come up with your notes. So basically, after I read this blog post, I came up with my notes. These are the notes that I came up with on things we need to set up, which will allow us to use the endpoint. So it is very simple. And the first thing is we need to make sure we have a VPC with public and private subnets. That is the prerequisite. Make sure you have a VPC with public and private subnets. Then we are going to install the latest version of the AWS CLI on our computer. Once we have done that, we will create some IAM policies, and we will create an IAM user with programmatic access and so on. These are the detailed step-by-step of what we need to do to SSH into the EC2 instance in our private subnet using the AWS CLI command. The first thing we have to do is create a VPC with public and private subnets. I already have a VPC with public and private subnets, so this I'm not going to cover how to create a VPC. And if you need help creating a VPC with public and private subnets, I will include the link in the Slack channel on how to create a VPC with public and private subnets. The next thing we have to do is install the latest version of the AWS CLI on our computer. So what I want to mention is, if you already have the AWS CLI installed on your computer, make sure it is updated to the latest version, because this feature only works in the latest version of the AWS CLI. make sure you've updated your AWS CLI to the latest version. So what we are going to do is install the AWS CLI on our computer. So here, I'm going to type AWS CLI, download in Google, and press enter. Under the search result, it is the first one, installing and updating the latest version of AWS CLI. I'm going to select this documentation. Then once you open the documentation, here you'll see the different operating system you can install AWS CLI on. Since I'm using a Windows computer, I'm going to select the drop-down on Windows. The easiest way that I've found to install the CLI command on your computer is to copy this command here by clicking this box. Once you copy that command, then you are going to open the terminal on your computer. I'm using a Windows computer, but if you are using a Mac computer, the process is the same. You just come down to the drop down for Mac here and follow the steps. Since I'm using a Windows computer, this is the command. I copied it by clicking this box. Then I'm going to open PowerShell on my computer. This is the Windows PowerShell. It is only available on Windows computer. So once you open PowerShell on your computer, all you have to do is right-click to paste that command there and press enter. Once you paste the command and press enter, it is going to open this Windows installer. And if you give it a second, it is going to open the setup wizard. This setup wizard will install the AWS CLI. All you have to do is click next. Here, you are going to click I accept, click next, and click install. It is now installing the AWS CLI on my computer, and I'll give it some time to install it. It has finished installing it. I'll click finish, and I'm just going to close my PowerShell terminal for now and reopen it. And to verify that the AWS CLI is installed, we are going to type AWS -- version. Once you type the command, press enter. When you type the command and press enter, you will get this output. This means that the AWS CLI is successfully installed on my computer, and the version that I just installed is 2.12.3. So you want to make sure that the latest version of your CLI is at least at 2.12.3. That is the next thing we need to do. So once we have installed AWS CLI on our computer, we need to create two IAM policy. The first policy allows your EC2 user to be able to create the endpoint, and the second policy allows your EC2 users to use the endpoint. This came straight out of the AWS documentation. So what we are going to do is I'm going to use this link to access the documentation where AWS listed this. If we scroll down here, this is the first policy, and this policy will allow your users to be able to create, describe, and delete the endpoint. All we have to do is click this box to copy it. And before you copy this policy, please note here, anything you see in red in the AWS documentation, these are the values you have to change. So when we create the policy, we have to update our region here and our account ID. So I'm going to click this box to copy it. And in the management console, I'll type IAM and select IAM under services. In the IAM dashboard, I'll select policies, then click create policy. On this page, click JSON, remove this policy here, and paste the one you copied from the documentation in it. Once you paste it, it is going to give you an error. You can see on line 13, it is red. It is saying there's an error here. That is because, remember, we have to update our region and account ID. To update our region, remember your region in AWS are listed here. I am using US East 1. I'll select this, copy it, and make sure that you replace just the region. I'm going to select the region, right-click, and paste my region there. When you are replacing the region, make sure you replace just the region and don't change anything else in here. Then next, we are going to replace our account ID. To get your account ID here, if you click this drop down, your account ID is listed here. Click this box to copy it and paste it here. Once you paste it, that is all you need to do to create this permission. Scroll down and click next. And here, scroll up, give the policy a name. We will call this policy create EIC endpoint. Once you give the policy a name, scroll down and click create policy. We have created the first policy. It is right here. The next policy we will create will allow our IAM user to use the endpoint. So now we have to click create policy again. If you come back to the documentation and scroll down, this is the second policy that allows your IAM user to use the endpoint. Just like the other one, we have to update our region and account ID here. They also give you an additional option here where you can limit this policy to a specific endpoint. We are going to remove this. They are telling you here, if you read in the documentation, you can either limit it to a specific endpoint or you can use the wildcard. So this policy will be applicable to any endpoint in your VPC. I'm going to click this box to copy it. Once you copy the policy, we'll go back to our IAM console, select JSON, remove this policy, and paste the policy you just copied in there. Once you paste it, the first thing we have to update is our region. The region I am using is US East 1. So I'm going to type US East 1 here. Or if you are just trying to be careful, you can copy the region from here. Once we've added the region, the next thing I need to add is my account ID. I'm going to click this box to copy my account ID. And here, I'm going to replace it. Then, this policy wants us to limit this permission to a specific endpoint in our VPC. But since we haven't created the endpoint, we don't have the ID for the endpoint. So what we are going to do is remove this information for the endpoint. You only want to remove the endpoint ID. After the / add a star. This means that we can use this policy for any endpoint in our VPC. Then also, under condition, AWS has included some condition here. We don't need to use the condition. So on line 8, select this bracket. The thing about JSON document is for anything you open, you must close. When you select this bracket, it is telling you that this bracket is opened here and closed here. So we want to delete everything in between from line 17 to line 9. And if you have made an error, you will see that the numbers here will show in red, which means that there is an error on that line. So I'm going to delete everything on line 9 to 17. And I'm just going to press backspace here to bring that curly bracket here. This is the policy we need. Then scroll down once you've created the policy and click next. And on this page, scroll up, give the policy a name. For the name, I'm going to name this policy use EIC endpoint, because remember, this is the policy that allows our IAM user to use the endpoint. Once you give the policy a name, scroll down and click create policy. We have created the two policies we need. The next thing we need to do, according to the documentation, is now we will create an IAM user with access key and secret access key. Then we will attach the policies we just created to that IAM user. So in our management console, make sure you are still in the IAM, select users. And here I'm going to click add users. I'll give the user a name. Then if you check this box, this means that you want to give the user access to the AWS management console. Since we will use this user to run the CLI command to SSH into our EC2 instance, we don't need to give the user AWS management console access. But if it is just a user you want to create and you want to give the user AWS management console access, you can check this box, then create a password for that user, similar to what you've done previously. But I don't want to give this user AWS management console access. I'll click next here. And on this page, this is where we will assign a policy to this user. Click attach policies directly. Then here, the first policy we will assign to this user is administrator access. Remember, we've just given our users administrator access, so the user can have access to majority of the AWS services. This is so we don't run into any issues when we are working on our project. So first policy we will select is administrator access. Once we have select administrator access, then we are also going to attach the two additional policies we created to allow this user to be able to create the endpoint and also use the endpoint. In the search box, type the name of the policy. The first policy, I called it create EIC endpoint. This is the policy. I'm going to select it by checking this box. Then the second policy, I called it use EIC endpoint. This is it. I'm going to select it by checking this box. Then I'm going to click next. And on this summary page, you will see the three policies. Make sure you have these three policies. The first one is the administrator access that gives the user access to mostly all the AWS services. The next one is the policy that allows the user to create the endpoint. And the last policy is the one that allows the user to use the endpoint. Once you've reviewed everything and it looks right, scroll down and click create user. We have created the user. The user is here, and you can also click view user to go to the user page. Once you are on the users page, click security credentials tab. And the next thing we want to do is create an access key and secret access key for this user. Everything we are doing now, you only have to set this up one time. Once you've set everything up, moving forward, you can just run your CLI command to connect to any EC2 instance in your private subnet. The first time you are setting it up, these are the things you have to set up. The next thing we want to do is create access key and secret access key for this user. So once you select the security credentials tab, scroll down. Under access keys, click create access key. Then select command line interface and scroll down. We are going to confirm by checking this box and click next. So on this page, we are not going to add any description. It is optional, and we will click create access key. This will create the access key and secret access key for the IAM user we just created. Remember the access key and secret access key we discussed in the previous class, that this is what allows you to be able to interact with your AWS account and create resources in your AWS account using the AWS command line. It is a programmatic way of interacting with AWS. Now that we have created the user's access key and secret access key, the next thing we have to do is configure this access key and secret access key on our computer. You guys remember to configure your access key and secret access key on your computer. All you have to do is open the terminal. I have opened PowerShell. Then you are going to type AWS configure. Once you type AWS configure, press enter. When you type AWS configure and press enter, it is going to ask you for your user's access key ID. Come back to the console, click this box to copy your user's access key ID, then paste it here and press enter. Next, it is going to ask you for your user's secret access key. Come back to the IAM console, click this box to copy the secret access key, go back to PowerShell, paste it here and press enter. Next, it is going to ask you for the region. We are going to choose our region here. I am using US East 1. I'm going to copy it from here. Then I'm going to paste it here and press enter. For the default output format, we don't need to specify anything. We'll just press enter. We have configured the user's access key and secret access key on our computer. Remember, I mentioned that running this command is doing nothing more than creating a file on your computer, and it is storing these credentials in that file. And the file is always in your home directory. So anytime you open the terminal on your computer, whatever part you see here, this is the home directory on your computer. So if I open the File Explorer on my computer, to go to the home directory on my computer, the first thing I see here is C. So I have to select C. Then the next thing is users. I have to select users. The next thing I see is admin. I have to select admin. This is the home directory on my computer. Whether you are working on a Windows computer or a Mac computer, the home directory on your computer will be listed here when you open your terminal. In the home directory, when you run the AWS configure command that we ran here, it is going to create a .aws folder in your home directory. If you go in that .aws folder, you'll see two files in there, config and credentials. If you right-click on the config file to open it, I'm going to open it in a notepad. You can see it has configured a default profile. To be able to run our CLI command, this is what we need, a default profile. And if you open the credentials file, it has configured the user's access key and secret access key. And the name is default. So that is the next step to configure the user's credentials on your computer. Once you've done that, in the next step, we just want to verify that the OpenSSH client is installed on our computer. In order to use the CLI command to SSH into your EC2 instance, your computer must have the OpenSSH client. On Windows computer, OpenSSH comes by default, and I believe it should also be on a Mac computer. To check whether you have it installed, just run this command. Type SSH space -V and press enter. When you type SSH space -V, if you get this output, this means that OpenSSH is installed on your computer, and that's all you need to verify. Next, we are going to create two security groups in our VPC. For the first security group, this is the security group we will attach to the endpoint. And on this security group, we are going to open port 22 on the outbound, and the CIDR block we are going to limit the traffic to is the CIDR block of our VPC. On the second security group, we are going to open port 22 on the inbound, and we are going to limit the source of the traffic to the endpoint security group we created in the first step. All this information came from the AWS documentation. So let's create our security group. In the management console, type VPC in the search box and select VPC under services. In your VPC dashboard, first, I'm going to filter it by the VPC I want to create the security group in. The VPC in my account that has the public and private subnet is the dev VPC. I'm going to select it here. Then I'm going to scroll down Under security, I'll click security groups. Then I'm going to click create security group. For the first security group, since I always struggle with name, I came up with a name here. The first name I'm going to use is EIC Endpoint SG. So this is the security group we will attach to the endpoint. So I'm going to enter the name here, and I'll use the same name for the description. Then under VPC, I'm going to remove this check mark, and I'm going to select the right VPC, which is my dev VPC. Then scroll down. This security group will not have any inbound rule, but on the outbound rule, we are going to select this drop-down, select SSH on port 22. And the next thing we need to specify is the CIDR block for our VPC. We will limit it to the CIDR block of our VPC. So here, click this X button to remove that CIDR block, which is specifying anywhere. And I'm just going to open the console in another tab. I'll go to the VPC service again. In my VPC, I'm going to filter by my VPC. Then I'll select your VPCs. This is the VPC that I am creating the security group in. And this is the CIDR block for the VPC. Going to select it and press Ctrl+C to copy it. Once you copy the CIDR block, come here and paste it here. This is all we need to do to create this security group. Remember, you are adding the rule on outbound. It is SSH port 22, and you are limiting it to the CIDR block of your VPC. Scroll down and click Create Security Group. Then we are going to create the second security group. Click Security Groups here. Then click Create Security Group. Give the security group a name. The name I'm going to call it is EC2 Instance SG. I'm going to paste the name here and here. I'm going to click this X to remove the VPC and select the right VPC. It is the dev VPC that I'm using. Then on the inbound rules, click Add Rule. Select this drop down, and we are going to select SSH. SSH is on port 22, and under the source, we are going to select in here, and we will select the EIC endpoint security group we created previously. This is all we need to do for this security group. Then scroll down and click Create Security Group. We are almost done with everything we need to set up. Remember everything I said we are setting up here? You only have to do this one time. Now that we have created our security groups, the next step is to create the endpoint in our VPC. It is very simple to create the endpoint. You can use the CLI command, or you can create it using the management console. Once you are in the management console, make sure you are in the VPC console. Then on the left side, you'll select endpoints here. Then click Create Endpoint. Give the endpoint a name. I'll call it Dev EIC Endpoint. Once you give the endpoint a name, under service category, make sure you select EC2 Instance Connect Endpoint. Then scroll down. Under VPC, select this drop down and select your VPC. Then scroll down. Under security groups, select the security group you want to attach to this endpoint. The security group that I want to attach to this endpoint is this one, the EIC endpoint security group. So click this box to check it. Once you've checked it, scroll down. Under subnet, you can put this endpoint in any subnet in your VPC. So you guys remember the reference architecture we are using for our VPC. It is a typical 3-tier reference architecture. So we have private app subnet, private data subnet. You can put the endpoint in any subnet in your VPC. For this lecture, I'm going to put it in the private app subnet, is the one. Under subnet, I'm going to select this drop down and select my private app subnet AZ1. Then this is all we need to do to create the endpoint. I'm going to click create endpoint. It is now creating the endpoint, and we will wait for the status of the endpoint to change to available. While we are creating the endpoint and waiting for the status to change to available, the next step is to launch our EC2 instance. Before we launch our EC2 instance, so basically everything we have done on step 1 to step 9, you only have to do this once. These are the things you need to set up. Now you can launch any EC2 instance in your VPC, and you should be able to use the AWS CLI command to SSH into that EC2 instance without having to create a key pair or adding the key pair to the EC2 instance. So let's go into the management console and launch an EC2 instance. I'm going to open a new tab here, and I'm going to type EC2 in the search box and select EC2 under services. I'm going to click instances running and click launch instances. I'll give the instance a name. I'll call it EC2 AZ1. Then I'm going to scroll down. Under application and OS images, we are going to select Amazon Linux, and under the AMI, you can use either the Amazon Linux 2023 AMI, but if this is an EC2 instance that you are using for our project and you want to SSH into it using this method, remember that the AMI we are using for our project is the Amazon Linux 2 AMI. So I'm just going to select the Amazon Linux 2 AMI. Then scroll down. Under instance type, it is going to be T2 micro. Under key pair, here, we are going to select this drop-down and select proceed without a key pair. Remember that to SSH into our EC2 instance, we need a key pair up to this point. But this will prove to you that with this new AWS service, you don't have to add the key pair to your EC2 instance. When we use the CLI command, AWS will generate a temporary key pair that the endpoint service will use to SSH into your EC2 instance. So here, we will click proceed without a key pair. Under network settings, click edit. Select this drop down and select your VPC. Once you select your VPC, under subnets, I'm going to select this drop down and I'm going to put this EC2 instance in the private app subnet AZ1. Then, under firewall security groups, I'm going to select an existing security group, select this drop down and select the EC2 instance security group we created. I called it EC2 Instance SG. Then click launch instance. This is all the settings we need. Let's launch another EC2 instance. I'm going to click instances, launch instances. I'll give it a name. I'll call it EC2 AZ2. Then the AMI will be Amazon Linux 2. Then instance type is going to be T2 micro. Key pair, we are going to proceed without a key pair. Network settings, edit, select your VPC. And for the subnet, I'm going to launch this EC2 instance in the private app subnet EC2. Then under firewall security groups, we are going to choose an existing security group. Select this drop down and select your EC2 instance security group. I called it EC2 Instance SG. Once you select it, this is all the settings we need. Click launch instance. Now we have launched two EC2 instances, one in the private app subnet AZ1, the other in the private app subnet AZ2. If you want to test all your private subnet, you can launch more EC2 instances in the private data and test whether you can use the CLI command to connect to it. But just for time purpose, I've only launched these two EC2 instances. So once you've launched your EC2 instance, let's go to the EC2 Instance console, and you'll see those EC2 instances here. Next, let's go back to our VPC console. I'm going to refresh here, and the endpoint is now available. Now that the endpoint is available, this is how you use it to SSH into any EC2 instance or resources in your VPC. The first way I'll show you is using the management console to SSH into your EC2 instance using the endpoint. So all you have to do is select the EC2 instance, click Connect. On the EC2 Instance Connect tab, we are going to choose Connect using EC2 Instance Connect Endpoint. Then it will populate all this information for you. Under EC2 Instance Connect Endpoint, select this dropdown and select the endpoint you created. Once you select it, click Connect. It will open a new tab and it should connect to your EC2 instance in a second. And there you go. It has connected to the EC2 instance. Let's connect to the second EC2 instance. I'm going to come back to my instances. Then I'm going to select the second EC2 instance. I'm going to click Connect. I'm going to choose Connect using EC2 Instance Connect Endpoint. Scroll down, select the endpoint here, click Connect. And there you go. It has connected to the EC2 instance using the management console. This is my favorite part about this feature, and I believe moving forward, I'll be using this method to SSH into my EC2 instance. Unless I really have to, I won't use the keeper anymore. I'll use this method. If you want to SSH into your EC2 instance using the AWS CLI command from your terminal, all you have to do is run this command. The command is AWS EC2 Instance Connect SSH. Then you specify the flag instance ID, and all you have to do is update your instance ID here. So I'm going to grab the instance ID of my first EC2 instance. Going to select it, copy the instance ID, and I'm going to update my command here. Then I'll copy this command. I'm going to open the PowerShell terminal. So you can see, I'm going to close it and open it again. And all I have to do is paste that command in here and press enter. Give it some time to load. The first time you try to SSH into your EC2 instance, it is going to ask you this question. Type yes and press enter. And there you go. I've SSH into my EC2 instance. And remember, this EC2 instance is in the private subnet. So Uzo, when I was working with you earlier this week, we did all that stuff with the Bastion host. With this new AWS feature, you don't even have to do that anymore. The only work I see you doing is the first time you set it up, which is you have to set up all your steps, which are all these steps from line 1 to line 9. Once you set that up, you can launch any EC2 instance in your VPC, whether public or private subnet, and use this CLI command to SSH into it. So I've successfully SSH into the first EC2 instance. You can see I am in the EC2 instance. I'm going to exit by typing exit. Then I'm going to try to SSH into the second EC2 instance. I'm going to select the second EC2 instance, copy the ID. Then I will update my command here. Then copy the CLI command. And I'm going to go back to my terminal, paste it here, press enter. It will take like 3 to 4 seconds to load. Give it some time to load. The first time you try to SSH, it would ask you this question. Type yes, press enter. And there you go. I have SSH into the second EC2 instance. And remember, these EC2 instances are in the private subnet. when we launched this EC2 instance, I also didn't add a key pair to the EC2 instance, yet I am still able to SSH into it from my computer. This is really an awesome feature that AWS just created. So I wanted to share with you guys. Maybe you guys prefer this method to SSH into your EC2 instance over using key pairs and Bastion host. The only thing that I am not sure about, and when you guys do your research, please let me know too, is how much does it cost to use the endpoint? I don't think AWS charge you for leaving it running. I think they charge you for how many requests you make to it, but I can't find the documentation for the pricing for the endpoint. So that is one thing I need to make sure. But once you have set up your VPC with public and private subnet, you've set up your endpoint in it. Moving forward, you can just SSH into your EC2 instance using this CLI command. So that is it for today's demo. Do you guys have any questions on this demo? Thoughts? Do you like it? Are you going to use it? Or do you prefer the SSH method?
Yeah, we're going to be using it because this has really been one of the major challenges that some of us have. I've worked on that all week, and it's been very difficult to SSH into my private subnet. So I think this one is going to work. So what we'll be expecting is that if we can have the script and as well as the lecture, so that we can start reviewing that on time.
Okay, sure. I always edit the videos, clean out some messy things in it, but I promise by latest Monday, I would have it up so you guys can watch it. In the meantime, I would also include the steps for my note in the Slack channel so you guys can have it for your reference.
Okay, sir. We really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you. So this is it for the demo. How to use the EC2 Instance Connect Endpoint to SSH into your EC2 instance. So what I'm going to do now is show you how to clean up. If you want to delete your resources, you already know how to terminate your EC2 instance. Select it under instance state, click terminate instance, then click terminate. The only other thing we have to delete is the endpoint. To delete the endpoint, go to your VPC console, select endpoint. Then you can select the endpoint here. Once you select it, click Actions and click Delete VPC Endpoint. Then type delete here and click delete. If you click refresh, the endpoint is gone. So like I said, that's one thing I'm not sure. I believe you can leave it in your VPC and AWS don't charge you for leaving the endpoint there. But certainly if you want to delete it, you can delete it, and you saw how easy it is to create one. If you want to delete it and the next time you want to SSH into your EC2 instance, you just come to the endpoint, click create endpoint, and just follow the steps to create it. Thank you. That is it for this demo. Before we go into the tasks that you guys are working on, one thing I want to mention is that a couple of weeks ago, I started assigning some assignment to you guys, and we are adding the assignment to the Jira board. We also assigned each other into a group. So some of you belong in a group. If you are not assigned to the group yet, let me know and I will assign you to the group. Remember that this program or what you are doing is still self-paced, meaning that you are going according to your own pace to complete your project. And everyone is at different phase in the project. So what I want to say is that you are still going according to these phases that I shared with you guys, meaning that you have to complete the necessary things you need to complete in phase 1. Then you move on to phase 2, 3, and 4. Even though I have assigned you guys to a group, the group is there for you to rely on in terms of if you have questions, because someone in your group may be ahead of you and they may have worked on that particular thing. If you get stuck, you guys can rely on each other, and you can also rely on me. If your group wants to meet at a certain point during the week where you guys want to discuss issues you are facing, how you can assist each other, you can certainly do that as well. But ultimately, you are responsible for following the projects in your account in the order you are supposed to follow them. So as you guys are going through the projects in your account, you are still going through your projects. When you finish each project, let me know and I will assign the appropriate tasks for that project to you. Which brings me to the Jira board that because of this reason, everyone will be at a different pace on their Jira board, which is why I said you can use your group email to create your own ticket on the Jira board, which when I look here, I can tell this ticket belongs to Mustafa. Mustafa is in group 3, Grace, group 2, Aziz, group 0, Elio, group 6, Tishe. So I can see your name here and I can follow the progress that you are making as an individual, but certainly you can still use your group to help you out if you have any issues somewhere. So that is the main purpose of creating the Jira board and assigning the tasks. Everyone at some point will be at a different pace. So I'm saying go according to your pace. Once you have finished each project in your account, let me know. I will assign the appropriate tasks to you for that project. So that is the only thing I have today that I want to bring to you guys' attention. And that is it for me. I don't have anything else to present. Yeah, you can go ahead. I see you have your hands raised.
Okay, thank you, Aziz. My question is, in your documentation, I think line 7, you said the PowerShell normally has the SSH client installed. So let's say you're using Git Bash and you check and you don't have it installed. What are the commands you use to install it on your Git Bash?
So did you run this command on Git Bash and it didn't work?
No, I haven't, but normally the Windows PowerShell, I have issues with it. So I normally use Git Bash.
I believe this command, we have to figure out I can figure out the equivalent to Git Bash and let you know. Is there a reason why you guys are not always flexible to using PowerShell or any other method?
For me, some of the commands don't work in my Windows PowerShell terminal. That's why I use the Git Bash.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so I would figure out the equivalent. I think this command is just checking whether you have the this command is checking whether you have the OpenSSH client installed on your computer. I don't know yet if it is compatible with Git Bash because I've never used Git Bash, but I'll check for you. If there is an equivalent, I'll let you know. Ashola.
Yeah, I just ran it on Git Bash and it works.
Okay, it works. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, so, thank you.
Yeah.
I did have a second question, please.
Okay, sure. Go ahead.
So as I was working on the assignment, when I was picking the DNS from my Elastic load balancer to check if my website had been deployed, I got the 502 bad gateway error.
Okay.
And yeah, I want to know why I got that.
The 502 error is not a specific error. So anytime you guys get those error, you can look it up, right? So here, if I Google 502 bad gateway, let me see if I can find something. So so it says here, server error response code indicated that the server, while acting as a gateway or proxy, received an invalid response from the upstream server. So it just means that for some reason, the information you are trying to access on your server is you can't reach it or something is wrong. So it does not give you a exact pinpoint of where the issue is. The issue can come from anywhere. The issue could have come from misconfiguration in your VPC. You are not the only one having that issue. Someone else is having the issue. The issue can come from misconfiguration in your VPC. It can come from security group. It can come from the script you ran, whether the script executed successfully. It can come from misconfiguring the load balancer. So we will just have to trace back your steps and make sure that we troubleshoot every step to pinpoint where the issue is. So I'm sorry that I can't always help you guys more than that, because I always get this question a lot. And my answer is always, there is no way for me to know. We just have to trace back your steps and troubleshoot every step to make sure that we find where the misconfiguration may be. Certainly, I can stay after to help you troubleshoot, to try to pinpoint where the error may be. But for now, just you describing it to me, it is hard to tell where the issue would be.
All right, thank you. I'll just go back and check step by step and see where I probably missed something.
Yes.
And if I'm still stuck, I'll message you then.
Okay, yes. So certainly if you want me to jump online, help you troubleshoot, let me know. We'll schedule a Zoom session and I'll help you go through it.
All right, thank you.
No problem. Edgar, go ahead. I mean, I keep saying Edgar, Miguel. I'm sorry, Edgar. For some reason, you're always on my mind. I don't know why every time I'm always calling you Miguel, Edgar.
No problem. No problem, Aziz.
Okay.
It's fine. Probably because we're both from the Philippines, Aziz. Anyway, is there like a particular time, Aziz, that you are available for a Zoom call? Like, do you prefer a specific day within the week?
For me, Friday works better for me, and also anytime in the evening works better for me. My schedule is always different from day to day.
Yeah.
But Friday is certainly a easier day for me, I would say.
Okay, cool. So that I would know. I'll take note of that. And one other thing that you mentioned earlier, you mentioned that once we complete a certain project from the cloud mentorship, we need to let you know so you can give us a specific task. Did I understand you correctly?
Yes, correct. That is correct.
Oh, okay. Because I've completed several. So okay, I'll let you know then.
Okay, yes, whatever you are comfortable with that you know and you are ready to move ahead, let me know and I will assign the task to you.
Okay, this is part of the thing that you mentioned, that when we're done with the project, you will give us a final task and then you give us your recommendation. Is that related to that one?
Yes, it is related, but the final task you'll be working on is the CI/CD project.
Oh dear. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
I got it.
But before you get to the CI/CD project, I want you to build your knowledge on just deploying different things in AWS. And the final one will be deploying the CI/CD project.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. All right. That's all. Thank you.
No problem.
Yeah, Aziz.
Henry, go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry, my question is very similar to Miguel's question. Sorry, I've missed a couple of meetings, so I'm just sharing Jibra something for the first time. So I don't really know that we have to report if we finish some of the projects. I'm just sharing that for the first time because I'm done with some of the projects. So how do I report that to you? Some of them are done. So that's the first question. And then the group, I've been trying to reach out to some of the members. I don't really know how to get in touch with them. So I don't know how that's also work dynamically so that we can.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'll create a general account. I'll create a general Jira account and I'll include the information in Slack that you guys can use to access the Jira board pending the time you are waiting for a group. You can either use your group's email to access the Jira board, or you can use the general credentials that I create to access the Jira board. Now on the Jira board, you would include your name on the ticket so that way I can know who created the ticket and I can also know what you are working on. So that is how we will solve it moving forward. I'll just create a general credentials that you will use to access the Jira board. In terms of,
okay, go ahead, please.
In terms of reaching out to your group member, everyone is always online at different times because everyone is on a different time zone. So certainly if I've assigned you to a group and I try to include everyone's tag in Slack there, message them on Slack. When they have time, they will get back to you. So your group is there for you guys to rely on each other because like Miguel said, he has completed some of this project and he's a little bit ahead. He would be a good resource. Chooks is also a little bit ahead. He's completed some projects. He will be a good resource. So I also want everyone to still work at their own pace, but still be able to rely on each other. So that is it with the group. Message them. If you look in the DevOps channel, you can search a particular person's name and you can see how active they are, because some people may not be that active on Slack.
Okay.
And if you look in the Slack channel, you'll see who's active. Maybe you can message that particular person in your group.
Okay.
In terms of the assignment, yes, whenever you've completed any project and you are ready for the assignment for that project, let me know and I will assign the work to you.
Okay. Do we upload anything on Jira if we finish?
Yes, in the documents that I will send, I've listed the acceptance criteria there, meaning that things you have to put in Jira to prove that you've completed the work. Yes,
Okay.
you would be uploading something to Jira. For each task, I would list in the document what I need from you to show that you've completed the work.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So, because some of these projects that we have done and we have kind of distributed all the resources. So, I know some of the criteria. I don't know if it's going to be involved in what you require us to do that we finish a particular project. So what I'm trying to say is that some past projects that I've done, so they're listening to this one. I hope it's not going to involve the resources.
I can't really hear you very well. Your sound is going in and out.
Okay. And what I'm saying is that the criteria that you want for us to put it. So what about some of us that have finished some project sometimes past? Are we, depending on what you want, what are we presenting to show that we finished? What are those things?
For each assignment, whatever assignment you are ready to complete, let me know. I would give you the document for that assignment. And whatever I've listed in that criteria to complete that assignment, that is what you have to provide to me. It is not the assignment is a separate assignment from the project you've done in your program. This is a brand new assignment. It is like a different website.
Okay.
So it is not the resources you created in the project that you deleted. This is a brand new website, different web files that I'm giving to you. I'm giving you different instructions of how to install it.
Okay.
And you will just have to provide the proof that you've followed the steps and you've deployed that. Like, for example, someone has completed this task. In this task, this is the website I asked them to submit. It might take a while to load. So this is the website I've asked them to submit, and I asked them to provide a screenshot of the site that is also showing the site encrypted with their URL, and they've done that here. So in each document, whatever you need to put in Jira to show that you've completed the work will be included in the documentation.
That makes sense.
Okay.
If we need a one-on-one meeting, how do we get in touch with you? We get in touch with you Slack. Send a message. Slack.
Yes, message me on Slack.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. Thierry, go ahead.
Hi, Aziz.
Hello.
Just a quick one. I just think Henry asked the same question to me. I just want to go a bit further about that to ask whether you can add me to the Jira group, because I've been trying to you keep knocking me out. So just wondering whether you can add me.
Okay. Please message me or in the DevOps channel, please put in there to add you to the group. So that way I will see it. Then once after the meeting today, I will add whoever hasn't been assigned to a group. to a group. But please, and the group member, please bear that we're adding new members. Remember, the purpose of the group is just for you guys to assist each other. And also, some of you guys are ahead, some of you guys are behind, and it's just for you guys to share knowledge. By you assisting other people, if you are ahead, it's just a way of you reinforcing things you've learned and just to help you out as well. So there is definitely knowledge in sharing what you know with someone that is just coming behind you. So if I haven't added you to the group, let me know. I will add you to the group after this meeting.
No problem. Thanks, sir.
No problem. Thank you.
Sorry.
All right. Does
I'm
anyone
on
else
my
have
phone,
questions?
can you hear me?
Yes, I
Hello?
can hear you.
Yeah, I'm on my phone, so I couldn't really use the features to raise my hand.
Okay.
Same with me, the last speaker, I'm having issue with the Jira. It keeps knocking me off, so I really couldn't get access to the Jira.
Did your team member provide the link to access Jira to you?
Yes, someone sent me and I tried to use it, but it wasn't working.
They sent you the email and the password?
No, I didn't get no email or password.
Okay. Yeah. So what I'm just going to do is you guys can continue to, I will assign you guys to the group. But what I'll do is I'll also create another credentials that you guys can use to access the Jira board and create your tags on the Jira board. I'll include that once class is done today. But certainly in your group, you can always reach out to your group member if you have any questions on certain things. If they've worked on it and they've completed and they are willing to assist, you can certainly reach out to them. Also, if your group wants to meet at some point, because I noticed some of you guys have been meeting and discussing, that is very good. And I recommend that you guys continue to do that, even if you are at a different pace in your project. What was your other question?
The other question is the group. You said we meet on Slack, but I haven't seen any group that I am on Slack outside the general and the AWS DevOps.
Yeah, so what I said is if you come on Slack in the DevOps channel, I send the link to you in the DevOps channel here. These are the groups.
Yes.
So you are in group 6. I'm in group 5. Sorry. So you can message anybody here that have included their Slack tag name. You can message them.
Okay.
Yeah. So mainly everyone, people send me personal message, as you can see here. And also you can see also a lot of most of everyone that are on the same phase as you are really active in here. So if you want to get like the latest update on what's going on, I mostly always post it in the AWS DevOps channel. So if you look in here, you'll see the update there. And this is the latest list for the group. Thirdly, I will most likely create an Excel file and I'll share it with everyone so you guys can see it instead of doing it this way. We started with a couple of group members, but it seems like every week it is growing. So I'll create an Excel sheet where I would properly add the group members where you guys can have access to it. Do you have any other question?
No, not. But I sent you a voice note. Maybe when you're less busy, you can listen to it.
Okay, sure. And if you want to stay after to discuss what you're having issues with, let me know.
Okay.
All right, Glinka, go ahead. You might be talking on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Well, thank you so much, Aziz, for what you are doing here. I'm a new member, I just want to ask like a suggestion if it is possible for you to put us in the same time zone, because I noticed when I joined, I sent several messages and I noticed some people are offline without those time. So maybe if it is convenient for you, I'm just bringing a suggestion. Maybe we can be in the same time zone, so we can have a Zoom session that will be convenient for all of us.
Okay. You mean the meeting we're having now, or just when your group members meet in general?
When the group member meets in general.
Oh, okay. So when you guys meet, that is based on you guys' schedule and what works for everyone. Everyone, like some people are in London, some people are in South Africa, so everyone's schedule is different. So your group member has to agree on what time works for everyone. Certainly, if there is something you need help with that you are not able to reach your group members in a timely manner that helps you out, let me know. Then I would get on Zoom with you and help you with whatever you need help with. It is difficult to, when your group meets, I'm not the one creating that schedule. It is just an initiative that you guys have chosen to do on your own to help to assist each other out. So it is hard for me to pinpoint what everyone's schedule is or what their time zone is. So that is why it is difficult to do it for when your group meets. But in terms of our meeting here, this is the time that I see that works for everyone. That is why I'm having it on Saturday in the afternoon. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Though
But what
what
I'm trying to say is that the group meeting you created for the Slack for the project. So I'm saying if it is possible for you, or if it is convenient for you, to assign those tasks for those group based on their zone,
okay. Oh, I see what you're saying.
so that we can have time to do Zoom meeting over those projects.
Oh, I see.
You get what I'm trying to say?
I see what you're saying. So you want, yes, I see what you're saying now. I understand. Okay. We can have a vote if you guys, since the group is already ongoing, right? We can have a vote if you guys want to keep the way your group is going, or if you guys prefer to be paired with someone that is in different time zone as you. So that way it will be easier. But Benga, certainly, if you want to be paired with someone that is in the same time zone as you, I can create a group specifically for that. And I'll just put it in there. Whoever's time zone is similar to yours, if they want to be part of your group, they can be part of your group as well. So everyone is kind of like all over the place at the moment. But yes, certainly I can make provisions for that to pair you with to as many people that are in your time zone as I can. You guys can let me know. I'll ask the question in the Slack channel. You guys can take a vote. And also, Benga, let me know your time zone. We'll share it there. And anyone that has similar time zone, we can pair you with them, if that's fine.
I think, Yoli, can I ask a question?
Sure.
I think Benga raised a very good question, point there. So maybe since you've created the groups, right? I will be in support because I know I'm here in the United States and I can feel that the time difference in other zones will be kind of too much. Especially me, I'm from Nigeria. Somebody from Nigeria, for instance, living in Nigeria, it's kind of 6 hours, maybe ahead of me or something like that. So it's very difficult. So maybe reshuffling, or they have to like signify that, okay, I'm living so area, then you remove them from it. This is the question.
Okay. Okay, certainly I would, if you guys, Shala, I'll get back to you. Sorry, I've been busy. We can discuss it more in the Slack channel, what you guys want to do. I would start a discussion. You guys can comment there based on what everyone is leaning on. We can go from there. But certainly if you are in a different time zone now, let let me know your time zone. You can also put it there, and anyone in your time zone, you can pair with them. Like I said, you guys meeting is something you guys choose to do on your own. I didn't set that up. Which I appreciate that everyone is meeting to try to just learn as much and do as much as they can. But if you are not able to join your team's meeting because of the time zone different, I can make provisions for that, but we'll have to discuss it and see what works for everyone.
Yeah, I will agree with that. I think what we will do, time zone has really been a factor in people meeting together. So what we will do is that we could just create like 3 time zones and name the group according to the time zone, and whoever is interested based on your own time zone, just notify so that you'll be added to the group. Maybe it could be like the US time zone, Nigerian time zone, or whichever time zones that we have among us here. So I
Okay.
think that will work so that we can actually collaborate and work in real time together.
Okay, that's a good idea. And also, please understand that even though you are assigned to the group, you are still going according to your pace. So if someone in your group is on project 4, assignment 4, and you are still on project 1, I expect you to go according to your pace. And by the end of each project and you completing each assignment, you should be able to troubleshoot any issues you are having with that assignment. You should have a good understanding of that project before you move on to the next one. So your group members will just be an additional resource you can rely on to help you if you're having any issue. But certainly, you want to make sure that you are doing your part as well. But I like the idea of getting everyone's time zone and creating a group according to everyone's time zone. We'll discuss that in the Slack channel. If that works for everyone, we can do that. I'm not opposed to any of that. Grace, go ahead.
Okay. So the time zone, I just want to put it out there that if you want to be in this space, you want to work as a DevOps engineer, you want to work in maybe all these multi-million company, we should adapt to working with different people in different time zones. I would say it's part of training, it's part of kind of sacrifices we need to make. If you're working with, let's say, Accenture, for those who are in US, you are working for a company like Cisco, where they have all their engineers all over the world, and you're part of a Scrum team where they have different people all over the world, distributed teams. You still have to adjust here and there, just find a common ground. So I won't say let all this be part of the training we have to go through to face the real world. Just come together, as a group, like what works for us. We can all make sacrifices here and there it's okay, these times work. That's what I'm going to say. It's not going to be convenient always, even when we start working. And I was just saying, let's just have that at the back of our mind. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, well, thank you. Yes, so everything we are doing here is just trying to simulate as close to the real world as it gets. Certainly at my company is fully remote, and everyone at my company are spread out throughout the United States. And some people are 3 hours behind, some people are 2 hours behind, and some people are 2 hours ahead. So sometimes when you try to message someone, you will see that they are still at 6 a.m. in the morning. So I agree with Grace in terms of sometimes is based on the company you work for, it may also be the reality you will face if you're working with a client that is overseas or a coworker that is in a different time zone. But certainly I also agree that it will also be helpful if I can create. What I'll do is maybe I'll leave the group that everyone is in and I'll create a separate group, just pinpointing who is in what time zone. So if you guys want to discuss with each other, you want to meet, so it will be easier for you to message someone in your time zone because chances are they may be online and they will get your message. but I will still create a different document that tells you who is who and in what time zone they are in. So that way you can see it. And if you guys want to meet, like I said, everyone meeting, that is what you guys chose to do, which I appreciate. I think you guys should continue doing it. So, but we will figure out a way to solve that problem to help everyone out. Does anyone else have any question?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry. Oh, yeah. So can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
The Jira software. So in the group, did you assign anybody as the lead of the group that will that will send off that will send messages out, or I just want to show that.
No, there is no lead in the group. It's
Okay, there's no
just
lead in the group
no.
because I heard you said if someone got a message from the group, password or username. So that's what I'm asking you. So if there's somebody that you have assigned the group.
No, I told each group member to agree to create an email because the space is limited in how many people I can add to my Jira board. So I told the group members to come up with an email and send that email to me so I can add that email to my Jira board. Then the group members are responsible for sharing that email with each other so the members can access the Jira board.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah. No problem. Thierry, I think you were saying something.
Yeah, it was just a quick one because I wanted to whether you can send me the roadmap, different phases, so I know how to go about it.
Okay, I'm going to post it in the Slack channel right now, so you guys can have it. Done. So that's the phase that I want you guys to follow. So make sure you are carefully following it and just going according to your own pace. All right. Does anyone have any questions? Okay. So if you guys don't have any questions, that is all I have for today. The main thing is how to SSH into your EC2 instance using the CLI command and continue to work on your tags. When you are done with your tags, put it in review. Remember to move your tags, you can click and hold it and drag it to each column. Once it is in review, let me know, I'll review it. And if everything works, if everything is fine, I'll let you know and you can move it to done. When you are ready for your next assignment, let me know. I'll assign it to you and you can come in the Jira board, create your ticket for it and pretty much follow the same steps. Chooks, go ahead.
Thank you so much. Good evening, Aziz. Thank you so much for what you're doing for us. I wanted to ask regarding the join that you just sent now, the stuff you just sent now. I've noticed that in our course, the Kubernetes is not yet added. So I know that you mentioned some time ago that you're still working on that. So I wanted to know maybe like when will it be ready, the Kubernetes project? You know.
Yeah, I haven't started recording it, but certainly give me a month. I shall have the course recorded, edited, and I'll post it. So within a month, I should be able to get it out.
Okay, thanks so much.
No problem.
Yeah, before we go, I'm just looking at the roadmap, and you put down a complete Linux course. Have you got any Linux course that you can advise us to take?
Yes, I would post in the Slack channel right after. So please, for anything that I need to get back to you guys on, remind me in the DevOps channel so I can get it. I would find a good Linux course and I'll post it. I do have one. I'll get the link and I'll post it in the DevOps channel. So for Linux, you just want to make sure that you are comfortable with understanding the different Linux distro and just comfortable with how to navigate Linux and how to run the Linux command. So you don't have to be a guru at Linux, but just to understand, okay, if I need to do something in Linux, this is how I can do it. So just a simple course that just gives you that overview and foundational knowledge. But I certainly have one course. I will post the link in the Slack channel.
Aziz,
Ashola.
I look forward to getting a response from the email, from the message I sent to you. Just take your time. I know you're busy. Yeah, but I look forward to response.
Yeah, sure. I'll respond to you once I meant to respond to you, but I haven't really been on Slack that much since Wednesday or Thursday, but I'll get back to you.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks so much.
No problem. Does anyone else have any questions? Okay. If you guys don't have any questions, that is it for today's class. Remember, everything starts with your project. Continue to work on your project in your AWS Node account. Once you have completed the project and you are comfortable and ready for the assignment, let me know. I will assign the task to you. Then that's when you come into the Jira board, create your ticket, and put your update in the ticket to track it. I will also work on trying to get everyone's time zone so we can know who is in what time zone to make it easier for some of you guys to reach out to anyone that may be in your time zone if that would help you out. So sadly, any of these things, please assist me by reminding me in the Slack channel, and I will definitely get everything done. That is it for today's class. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate all the work you guys have been doing. If you have any questions, reach out to me in the Slack, and I'll see you guys next week.